Welcome back to Paul Think Grow. In this episode, we'll be talking about habits and how they play a crucial role in shaping our behaviors, thoughts, and our emotions, and how they can greatly influence our overall well being and the quality of our lives. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Paul Think Grow podcast. On today's episode, we'll be talking about the power of habits and how to break bad habits and how to build new ones and good ones. And I'm going to explain a bit about what habits are. We're also going to talk about, why habits are so important, and we'll go through all of this. And at the end, I hope I give you some really good value. So I want you to just listen. This is not going to be a very long one, but I want you to just listen and take it in, because changing your habits and being able to have the power over your own habits is an incredible tool. So I want you to take a real moment and just listen to this podcast. It's pretty important. Although it seems pretty simple, because a lot of people will think, habits, you've heard the word habits all the time. Good habits, bad habits, whatever. You've heard that all the time. So when you hear something a lot of times it loses its luster, it loses its power, it loses its force over you. So I want you to just take a moment and act as if habits is a new thing to you. Act as if habits and the power of habits is a new concept to you. And again, if you would like to have any conversations with me, work out anything, contact me. Go to paulthinkgrow.com, or you can find me on social media and you can hit me up on there as well. If you'd like some coaching and if you'd like some work on how to change your habits, work with me. I'm a life coach, and I can help you work through all of those things very, very simply and very, very effectively. Okay? So, welcome to the Paul Think Grow podcast again. Let me explain a little bit of why habits are so essential in shaping our lives. So I can tell you that habits are essential in shaping our lives because they allow us to conserve mental and emotional energy, and that can make our daily routines more efficient. We don't have to put as much into the things that we do if we create a habit, or if we have a habit of doing something. So by forming habits, our brains don't have to do as much hard work to make decisions about like routine tasks, and that frees up a lot of mental and emotional resources to tackle more complex and even more novel challenges in life. So additionally, habits can help us to create a sense of predictability and consistency in our lives. And this can be especially important for people who struggle with anxiety or depression, because this provides a sense of stability and control. And habits can help us to achieve our goals and make positive changes in our lives by developing positive habits. If we develop these positive habits, we can reinforce desired behaviors and create a path to personal growth and self-improvement. And this is almost a definition of self-influence, by creating your own positive habits. And this is a big little tool in self-influence, in the control of your own mind and control of your own life. So overall, habits play a crucial role in shaping our behaviors and thoughts and emotions, and can greatly, greatly influence our overall well-being and the quality of life we have. So just an overview, we're going to talk about what habits are and why they're so important. I'm going to give you some definitions of habits and how they're formed in the brain. We're going to talk about the power of habits that influence our behaviors, thoughts, and emotions. I'm going to do a little bit of information on the importance of habits in shaping our identity and shaping how the world sees us, and how to intentionally cultivate positive habits and change those things intentionally. And I'm going to give you some nice little tips of things that I do personally that help me to change habits in my own life. And then we're going to break bad habits by going through and working out how to do that, how to break bad habits using habit cues and things like that. And then we're going to identify the triggers and all of that. And then I'm gonna give you some extra little tips at the end to make sure that you have all the tools you need to break bad habits and create new and beautiful good habits. And this won't be something that's intense, where your life will be so disrupted until you just can't actually function anymore. These are subtle, simple, easy things that you can do that are extremely powerful to almost trick yourself into success. All right, so let's talk about what are habits and why they're so important. So, the the definition of habits and how they're formed in the brain are, let's see, habits are automatic behaviors or routines that are repeatedly and regularly used, and they tend to occur subconsciously. So you don't actually know that you're doing these. These actions can range from simple actions like brushing your teeth or putting on your shoes to real complex behaviors like driving a car or playing a musical instrument. And habits are formed in the brain through a process known as chunking. Yep, that's right. Chunking. Chunking. And this behavior is broken down. Well, chunking means that this behavior is broken down into smaller components and repeated consistently until the until the action becomes automatic. So when you first learn a new behavior, we use a lot of cognitive resources to consistently think through each step. Yeah, have you ever done anything for a new job or anything like that where you use a lot of brain power to actually make sure you're getting things right, going through each step to get things right? And as you do that over time with repetition, the behavior becomes more and more automatic and requires less and less cognitive resources. And this is because the neural pathways that are activated when we perform um, the behavior become more efficient with practice. So eventually leading to the behavior being stored in what's called the basal ganglia, the part of the brain that plays a key role in habit formation. So um, there is a biological reason why habits work. And over time, these habits can become deeply ingrained in the brain, making them difficult to break, which is why it's so important to be intentional about the habits you form. So, by understanding how habits are formed in the brain, we can take deliberate steps to create positive habits and break negative ones. So, the power of habits in influencing our behavior and thoughts and emotions um, is a different story. Oh, it's not a different story, it's another part of the story. So, the power of habit lies in the ability to influence our behavior. This is where the power of habits come from. The ability to the power of habits is the ability to influence our behavior, our thoughts, and our emotions without even realizing that it's being done. So when we engage in a habit, our brain enters into a kind of autopilot mode, freeing up a lot of mental space and emotional resources for other tasks. So could you imagine you doing a lot of stuff in life, and some things you just do automatically? When you get into the car, you automatically just know what to do. You stick the key in, you put foot on the brake pedal, you turn the key, you pull the lever to put it in gear. All of these things are pretty much habit because you've done it so often. So your brain don't actually put step-by-step information in front of you, which means it frees up a lot more information. It frees up a lot more space in your brain. And this can be incredibly useful for our daily routines. This makes it more efficient and conserve a lot of mental and emotional energy. So habits can also be detrimental if they reinforce negative behaviors or lead us down an unhealthy path. So by becoming more aware of our habits and intentionally choosing positive ones, we can harness the power of our habits and make positive changes in our lives. It is a crucial tool. If you say you want to make positive changes in your life, but you continue to support your own bad habits, you will only be walking in circles because you'll consistently do the thing that you don't want to do until you take the time to actually address that negative habits or those negative habits. You won't actually be able to take those next steps higher and higher to reach your goal or to achieve pretty much anything, because habits can get in the way of something brilliant. And you've had times, I know all of you have had times where you shouldn't do something but you did it anyway, and the same results happen, and you kind of go, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I did that. I don't understand why I keep doing the same thing. It's because it's a habit. It has formed in your brain, it's deeply ingrained. So the importance of habits in shaping your identity and personal growth means that habits are crucial. They're absolutely crucial because they're a reflection of your values and priorities. So let that sink in for a second. Habits are crucial in shaping your identity and personal growth because they are a reflection of your values and your priorities, whether they're good or bad. And the habits we form influence our behavior and our mindset, which in turn can shape our character and identity. And the world around us will treat us a certain way based off of our habits, the way we present ourselves, the things that we do. And positive habits can reinforce healthy behaviors, leading to personal growth and self-improvement. So by intentionally cultivating positive habits, we can create a path towards the kind of person we want to become and the life we want to lead. So, and remember, I said if you listen to episode one, a lot of times when I talk about things and when I work on things, I'm not just working on it because I want to just give the information of what something is or describe something. I actually want to try and present you some tools and some tricks and some measures and some solutions that you can use in your life, because the hardest part about actually knowing things is not knowing how to use it or not knowing how to affect it or change it. So you can know that you have bad habits, but it's hard if you don't know how to cultivate positive habits or delete those bad habits or replace those bad habits. So I'm going to give you some tools and tips here on how to intentionally cultivate positive habits. So the first tip I want to give you is I want you to start small. Rather than trying to make sweeping changes all at once throughout your life, start with small changes that are easy to maintain. And this helps you build momentum and establish a positive feedback loop that can be reinforcing to your life. If you do something small that's got a good result, that works the way you want it to work, and it's actually working for you, and it's a positive habit, it's a positive change, then you'll receive that positive feedback, not just from people, but from the actual thing that you're going for. So let's say a small change. If you have a habit doing something like, walking out the door before eating breakfast, okay? I know a lot of people have that habit. I do myself. And I'm not saying breakfast is either good or bad. This isn't the conversation. What I'm saying is if you want to change that habit, then start off small. So instead of having a full breakfast each morning, try to have something on the kitchen counter ready to go. So when you walk past the kitchen counter to go to to get your keys or to do whatever, you actually pick up a breakfast bar or something quick or something easy. That's a small change that you can make just by sitting it there. It's a very small thing. You wake up in the morning, you have a shower, you brush your teeth, do all these kind of things, you get dressed, you're ready to go. And as you're walking out, you see this on the kitchen bench or on the counter or wherever you need to put it, next to your keys, whatever. And you just see it there and you go, boom, I need to have that. That's a small change. That's something that you can do, and it will build momentum, because once you start doing it and you keep doing it consistently, you'll find that it becomes a habit in itself. And that habit replaces the bad habit of just not eating breakfast, if that's something that you want to actually change. All right. So I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't eat breakfast. I'm not, in that field. All right. So another way to intentionally cultivate a positive habit is to set a specific goal and be very specific about the habit you want to cultivate, and set achievable goals that are measurable and time bound. So something that you can do, that you can say, okay, I can do this, it's small enough, or it's quick enough, it's easy enough for me to do, and I can do this at this time. And I can do this at each time each day, or I can do this each time I do XYZ. And this will help create a sense of structure and accountability that can be very motivating. So if you've actually got something that you have set up that you can do, that's achievable, and that you can measure that it will actually be within what you can do, within the realm of what you need, and it can be done at a certain time, so you can constantly know that at this time, this is what I do, This can help to create a good structure and be very motivating for you. So another way to intentionally cultivate positive habits is to practice consistency. Now, habits are formed through consistent repetition. So it's important for you to make a conscious effort to practice the desired behavior every single day. So use your time to sort of try and do this over and over and over. Practice consistency. Don't let things fall off. Just, I have to do this because I'm working on something. I have to eat this breakfast bar because I'm working on something, or I have to do XYZ because I'm working on something. Be consistent with it. And even if you miss it, come back and do it and keep going until it becomes something that you naturally do. Another way to cultivate positive habits is to use visual cues. So, visual cues as a reminder to engage in a desired behavior is incredibly powerful. And this can be incredibly powerful. And this can be anything from a post-it note to a physical object that serves as a visual reminder, a picture, a audio that plays on your phone, your sounds that you can change for your alarms. Remember, you can change those on your mobile phone. If you use your phone to wake up, you can actually change the sound on there. If you just set a sound for a daily alarm at a certain time, that is a audio of either you saying something or somebody saying something, or sound or something that can give you that. When you pick up your phone, you will see, okay, that's exactly what I want to do. So that's a visual cue, but I'm also using auditory cues as well. But a visual cue is something remarkably powerful and simple. A little picture hung up somewhere, a little object set somewhere, a little something that you're going to see, and it's going to remind you at the drop of a pen, this is what I need to do. Another way to intentionally cultivate positive habits is to hold yourself accountable. So establish a system of accountability, and whether that's through a friend or through a mobile app, it just helps you stay on track and reinforces that habit. So somebody asking you, how was your day? Did you do XYZ? And that is something simple that you could go yes or no. And I tell you what, when you have people that ask you, have you done, and you know you should have done, it becomes a little thing that's kind of like, well, I need to achieve this because I don't want to keep saying no. And if you're truthful, you would just be like, I need to do this, I need to do this. And honestly, when you have someone that is working with you to as an accountability partner or anything, be honest, because what are you going to lose? You know, that person is respecting the fact that you are there working with them or letting them work with you to help you get to where you want to go. So be very honest about it. And if you didn't do it for 4 days, I didn't do it. Sorry, I didn't do it. No, I didn't do it. I'll get on it. That can also help you, help motivate you to, okay, I need to get started. Because once you start doing it, that person can go, okay, that's excellent. Fantastic. Good job. You get those little reinforcements of positivity. You get those little rewards. So hold yourself accountable by having either someone help you or use an app. Use something that pop up on your phone and says, have you done? Or, you got to tick it off or whatever. And another thing that you can do to intentionally cultivate habits is to celebrate. Celebrate your small wins. Celebrate what is actually working. When you recognize that something is good, recognize it and celebrate the small successes along the way. And this can help you build confidence and reinforce the positive behavior, because that is something that a lot of us miss doing. We'll do something positive and then we'll just go, cool, and that's it. And without celebrating that, what you do is you diminish the power, or you diminish the actual importance of that achievement. You make it so that achievement wasn't really anything. It has the same results and the same replies as everything else. Then it becomes not so important, because what are you really getting out of it? No, take the time to celebrate your small wins. Remember, you're going to start small, so celebrate those small wins. Say you did something for a full week and it's something you wanted to be doing all of your life, but you just haven't been doing it, but you started doing small bits of it, and you've done that for 7 days straight. On that 7th day, celebrate the fact that you won that. You did a whole week doing that. It could be whatever. but make sure you celebrate and recognize and celebrate those small successes, because that is increasingly important. That is extremely important, because if you don't celebrate it, it just becomes like every other day, and you don't have any milestones, no achievements, nothing to look back on. And make it something nice, make it something good. So if you do 1 week and then you celebrate, and then you do 2 weeks and you celebrate, go, okay, I'm gonna celebrate in 2 more weeks. That'll be a whole month. That's gonna be what I'm going to do. Is I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna have that, or I'm gonna do this or that. Because that will give me that thing that I can do this, I can reward myself, or I can celebrate this. Even if you're just telling a friend, and you guys sit back and have a conversation about how good it was that you did this, that's a celebration. So a lot of people like to tell people when they do something good, and that's a positive thing, because when you do that, if that person is positive with you and they're on the same track, rolling with you and helping you, they're going to be just as excited that you actually are achieving this, and it may even motivate them to achieve things. Everybody likes to be motivated to achieve the things that they want to achieve. So celebrate those small wins. Tell somebody, have a extra something or whatever. Don't celebrate your small wins with your negative behaviors, but celebrate your small wins with something positive, something good, something that actually is going to make you smile. Now, I've got two really beautiful little ideas that I have been using myself to cultivate positive habits. And they're kind of different and out of the box a little bit. So I want you to just, bear with me. But these are two things that I do to intentionally cultivate positive habits in my life. So I do habit stacking. And this is a technique that involves like a new habit with an existing one to create a stack of behaviors. So, for example, if you want to start a daily meditation practice, you could pair it with your morning cup of coffee. And this creates an automatic association between the two behaviors, making it easier to adopt a new habit. So that's what I do when I want to change something. I habit stack. I find a habit that I have that is positive, and then I add another habit to it. So when I do this, I also do that, and it creates an easier transition for creating that habit, which is why there are things that I do 2 or 3 things at the same time. No matter what I do, when I got to do that one thing, I do 2 or 3 things at the same time. That's a positive habit, and it's habit stacking. So if you understand that concept, what you'll do is you'll add a new habit to an existing positive habit, and make those 2 habits as one thing that you do. And that will almost ensure that every time you do that other habit, because remember, it's already a habit. Every time you do that, you will instinctively do the other. And that will create that new habit for you and make it easier to transition that. So the association between the 2 habits can make it easier to adopt a new habit. All right. Habit gaming is another thing that I do. And I like this one because my brain sort of does this on its own, but I do kind of try to focus and be mindful of it and be present when it happens. This technique involves me turning a habit formation into a game. So I use technology or other tools, my phones or whatever, to create a sense of competition and reward. So for example, there are apps that allow you to track your progress towards a habit and earn points or rewards completing that daily task. And this can add an element of fun, motivating to the habit formation process. So it can be something that you do that you want to do, and you want this habit to stick. You create it as a game. You have a thing that you do, and then if you do it, you get rewarded. And that reward could be something as simple as I'll have another cup of coffee, or I'll have a Coke, or I'll go and buy myself something from the shop, or I'll go and spend $10 extra on something. These can be anything that you want as a reward. And whatever it is, it has to be something that you desire, something that you like, because otherwise it's just something that you do normally. Let's add that as a reward. Do something that's a little bit more positive, a little bit happiness for you. That becomes that reward. So habit gaming It's me turning my habit formation or making, if I want a new habit, I actually turn that into a game by, trying to compete with my other habits, and, you know, being accountable and making sure that I record things, be specific and practicing it and all these different things. So those are the two things that I really, really, really do myself: habit stacking and habit gaming. And I like those because they just fit with my personality. So let's just take a moment for a second, just go back over quickly what I've said. Like I said, this isn't going to be a long one either. I want to make sure that we go through this information very simply, very cleanly, because I want you to be able to replay it if you need to, and not have to worry about, listen to a very long podcast about this particular subject. It's something that we all know about anyway, but I wanted to actually put it into a format that we can actually use some tools to change and build something incredible within our own lives. So we talked about what are habits and why they are so important. We talked about the power of habits, how they form in the brain, the power of habits having over our behavior, our thoughts and emotions, the importance of habits in shaping our identity and personal growth, and how to intentionally cultivate positive habits. And then we even talked about my two favorite habit cultivating techniques, which is habit stacking and habit gaming. So let's talk about how to break bad habits. So understanding the habit loop, and the three components of a habit, which are the cue, the routine, and the reward. So an explanation of the habit loop. Okay, the habit loop is a framework for understanding how habits are formed and maintained. And it consists of three components: the cue, the routine, and the reward. The cue is the trigger that initiates the habit. The routine is the behavior or the action that follows the cue. And the reward is the positive outcome that reinforces the habit and encourages the repetition. So, for example, consider a habit of checking social media, right? We all have this habit, but it's one that's easy to actually think about. So think about the habit of checking social media. The cue could be boredom or a desire to procrastinate. Yes, procrastination can be a desire. We can just want to not do something right now. So the cue could be boredom or the desire to procrastinate. And the routine, remember, there's cue, routine, reward. The routine could be scrolling through the social media feeds and just, scrolling through, seeing things. So that's you got the cue and we got the routine. So we're just doing this. And then the reward could be the temporary distraction or the entertainment value we get from seeing, quick little videos, what other people have posted, what's being said about stuff, or little news articles or whatever. And over time, this habit loop becomes more automatic and habitual habit making it difficult to break the cycle. So by understanding the loop and its components, people can become more aware of their habits and make intentional choices to modify or replace them with more positive behaviors. So by identifying the cues and the rewards associated with a particular habit, people can work to change. You can work to change the routine or find alternative behaviors that provide a similar reward. So when you identify triggers and cues that lead to bad habits, you're going to want to really take a moment and understand that these are the cues, that this is the cue, that something happens and then it's like, okay, now I got to go do this. And because it's so automatic, it's going to take you a moment to be a bit more, focused on what the cues are. Because a lot of things that we do are habits and we don't realize we're doing them. That's the scary part to me, is that I'm doing things and I don't realize I'm doing them. So understanding the importance of mindfulness in breaking bad habits. And remember, mindfulness is the practice of being present and fully engaged in a current moment without being judgmental or distracting. So don't judge yourself, don't punish yourself, don't distract yourself from the idea. Just know that, okay, whether this is good or bad, I'm here in this moment. I understand that this is what's happening. That's mindfulness. And it involves focusing on your thoughts and your emotions and even the physical sensations in a non-reactive way. And just accept that that's happening, that is the the moment you're in. That's mindfulness. So understanding the importance of mindfulness can help you to identify the triggers and the cues. What started you on doing something, what what made you first feel like you need to do something, and then what cued you into starting that thing to do that same habit you don't want to do. And replacing bad habits with positive ones, and the role of habit substitution and behavior replacement is important. So taking a bad habit, sometimes people just think that they can just stop a bad habit. And a lot of times people can. So let me put this little bit in there. Some people can just stop a particular bad habit, but most people cannot stop something that gives them the reward that they are craving, gives them that moment of satisfaction, gives them that idea of I'm living life and I'm doing this, whether it's good or bad. So replacing a bad habit is highly, highly recommended if you're finding it difficult to just stop a bad habit. Replace it with something else, substitute it for something else, and change the behavior. So the way you approach it, the way you think about it, the way you act about it, that is the best way to get rid of a bad habit, is to replace it with something else. And of course, nothing else is going to be a habit until you consistently, do it. You keep doing it, you be consistent about it, you have some tools in place. Like I said before, when we're talking about the intentionally cultivating positive habits, unless you do some things like start off small, set specific goals, practice consistency, use visual or auditory cues, be accountable, hold yourself accountable, and celebrating small wins. Do things like habit stacking or habit gaming, like I said before, that I do. Those things are crucial because you are actually doing small things to help get rid of maybe big habits. Take small steps if it's a really huge thing. If it's something small that you want to change, sure, you can take a small habit and change that small habit with a positive habit, a small positive habit. So that's an idea of how to break a bad habit. When we start off with breaking bad habits, the one thing we have to understand is that it takes a little time. It's not quick, it's not fast, it's not a snap to and you're done. You need to take your time and be understanding of yourself. If you fail at something one day, that doesn't mean your whole life is over. It doesn't mean that you no longer can do this. If you have a point where you go, I'm doing good, I'm doing good, I'm doing good, and then you turn around and go, I've done bad, I've missed this day, or I didn't do it positive, or I didn't finish whatever I wanted to do, don't give up, because tomorrow you can restart that same thing. And even if you miss a few days, a week, or a month, this is something that you need to understand. Every single time you stop does not mean it's over. It just means you have a pause. And if you can pause for a moment and then get back on the train and start doing it again, making sure you're replacing those bad habits with good habits, then you're going to actually find that as time go on, as you're constantly trying to replace this bad habit, that you're doing better and better and better and better and better. And this can go for, drug, alcohol, sex, whatever sort of addiction sort of things. These are qualities that can help assist in those. Of course, with those issues, I'd advise you to get some professional help as well. There is no substitute for professional help. So don't just take my word and go, well, I'm replacing all of my bad habits with this. Now, small habits like you want to eat better, or you want to, maybe even stop smoking or things like that. And even smoking can be something that you can get professional help for. But maybe you want to stop smoking. Maybe you want to Start wearing more colorful clothes instead of wearing this or wearing that. These are small things that you can think of that you can add a little color to this, or add a little bit of salad to that, or change a little this, or don't have that instead of this, or want to go for a walk. Instead of going for a walk and doing trying to do a 10K the first day I try to go for a walk, I might go and do it in minutes first. I might start off with a 10-15 minute walk just to get myself going. Do that for a while until I'm like, okay, 10-15 minutes, I can do more. Let's go ahead and increase this to a 30-minute walk. So I'll do 30 minutes. And then next thing you know, I'm doing, an hour and a half walk. I'm going somewhere, I'm, walking somewhere, I'm doing things, and I'm walking around shops, and I'm walking here and I'm walking there and I'm walking back, and I'm going, wow, I've just been out for an hour and a half. Now I'm not saying everybody needs to go out and go walk for an hour and a half. I'm just saying there are things that you can do, small steps to become better and better and better. So the last little tips that I want to give you on this is, I want you to understand you need to choose a habit that aligns with your values, your goals, and your priorities. So if your habit is something that you want to, if there's a habit you want to change, don't try to change it with something that doesn't fit your values, that doesn't fit your goals, that doesn't fit your priorities. Find something that goes, okay, I like that. I wish I can do that instead of that. I'll start doing small bits of this to offset, to try and erase or to replace the bad habits with this. All right. Choose a habit that aligns with your values, who you are, how you like to do things, your goals and priorities. Always go a little better, a little better, a little better. So understanding the power, another tip is to understand the power of small wins and how to start small and allow that to build momentum. Allow it to become bigger. You can't really always just take something and go, I'm replacing this, boom, done. Sometimes you just want to start small and then build that bigger and bigger. Understand that to build good habits, you have to have some consistency, a little bit of willpower, and a commitment to actually do that. Now, the willpower comes in, if you've heard of my podcast one, the power of self-influence. That can actually help. Being consistent, having commitment, the self-influence could actually be one of those big things that can actually help you. So another good tip is to track your progress, use rewards, and be accountable. Stay motivated. Let people tell you positive things about it. Don't be too shy to say, hey, I'm changing this habit. When you see me do something that changes this, that's positive, give me some kudos, give me some good words. Keep me motivated, because you're my friend, and you said you wanted me to you want to help me change a few things, or you might want to help me change a few things. All I need for you to do is be my accountability partner. I'll come and tell you what I'm doing and how I'm doing, and if you think it's good, then work with me and give me some positivity. If you think it's bad, don't berate me, don't make me out to be a villain or anything, but basically just say, oh, well, hope you can get that going next time, and let's keep it positive. And those sort of things, having something to track your progress, rewarding yourself, and having somebody to stay accountable to, or an app to stay accountable to, can be very motivating and can help you be very, very committed. And finally, changing your influences. So remember the power of self-influence in episode 1. Changing what's around you. Now, say you want to stop smoking, but everybody around you is smoking. And you've got 4 people sitting at a table with you, and you're trying to stop smoking. It's going to be incredibly difficult for you to stop, because you're looking across the table, smelling and inhaling, having a conversation, remembering the feel, the hold, the taste, the vibrating, the sensation, whatever. So you got to change your influences. When everybody's sitting around smoking, maybe you get up and go and do something for 10-15 minutes while everybody finishes the smoking and stuff, and you come back out and have a conversation. I'll tell you what, people are kinder than you think. People are kinder than you think. If you basically say, look, I'm trying to stop smoking, so if you guys want to light up, I'm going to run inside and do XYZ, and you go for it, I'll be back out. Somebody sing out when everybody's, cigarettes are out, everybody's done, or whatever. I'm not exactly sure how perfect that'll work in that perfect scenario for you, but that's kind of how I would approach things. And I would be very respectful of anybody who is doing something that I'm trying to change. It's not me to tell somebody else to change something, but I'd be very respectful. Go ahead, do your thing. No hate, no problem. I'm just going to pop in here because I'm really working on trying to change something. And whether I succeed at that moment or not is not going to kill my whole, ability to change. It might hold me back for that day. And yeah, I might get into like a cycle of like, you know, doing the same habit again, again, again for a little while. But I have to get my brain back together. Okay, focus. Choose a small habit to replace it with. Celebrate those small wins. Try again and keep going until it becomes something. When you give up is when you lose. So changing the influence around you, talking about things that are more positive about it. So instead of having conversations too much about what you don't want to do, more conversations about what you do want to do will actually increase your chances of successfully doing the things that you do want to do. All right. Okay. I want to stop it there. I wanted to keep going. There's a whole lot more I want to say. However, I think we got the gist of everything here. I think we got a clear idea of what habits are, how they work in the brain, some of the tools that we can use, how habits shape everything in our life, some of the tools we can use to change those habits, and then some techniques, and then understanding how to identify those bad habits and then replace those bad habits. So I hope that this podcast episode really helps you out. If you have any bad habits that you want to change, again, if you want to contact me and have a coaching session, give me a buzz, send me a message, go to paulthinkgrow.com or find me on social media and let's connect. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good day.